Hello and welcome back to this week's Athletic Reports, which covers breaking news, running shoe news, race results, transfer news, general running news and the runner's spotlight. As always, please comment if we've missed anything and please like, subscribe and turn on post notifications so you see when we post videos. This week we are starting with breaking news, which covers the likes of world records, event cancellations or anything else we think is sort of the biggest news within the sport of this past week. First up within this, Ryan Crouser threw 22.82 for a world indoor record. Despite ESPN's awful coverage of this event, it was still great to see a new world record being set this early on in the season. And also, don't let this make you forget that countless NFL players are stronger than him. And secondly, which I think is great news for sport in general, but more specifically British running, and that is the fact that the BBC have secured the rights to televise the World Athletics Indoor Tour, which starts today. And by the release of this video, it will be on BBC iPlayer. And going from one positive within British running to a negative, the night of 10,000 metre PBs has been cancelled. This race is pretty much where everyone runs a 10,000 metre PB, typical to its name. This year it's been cancelled, which is quite disappointing and a bit prematurely if you ask me, but with the current climate and the situation the world is in, you can completely understand why this is the case. Moving on, interestingly, Florida have volunteered to host the Olympics if Tokyo back down. And finally, deservingly of the breaking news is the Centrowitz versus Engels. I guess it was mainly Joshua Thompson versus Craig Engels, but also you throw Centrowitz and Eric Jenkins into the mix. To give you a brief update, Craig Engels and Eric Jenkins were on the Beer Mile podcast, and within that, they spoke on how they'd love to have a rivalry with Centrowitz, and also were speaking on how Joshua Thompson was too nice to have a rivalry with. In response, Joshua Thompson posted a photo with a caption which basically digged a little bit at sort of what they were saying. In reply, Engels posted a photo of him winning the USAs, in which Centrowitz and Joshua Thompson came second and third, and you can basically see what he said in his caption there. And now the second part of this podcast has come out, and Craig Engels is saying that he'd get in the ring with Josh Kerr. I don't think that would end well for Craig, but it's something I'd pay quite a lot of money to see. And something we wanted to stick in breaking news because it could potentially be absolutely huge if this does happen. But Molly Seidel has a crush on Callum Hawkins. That would be an absolute phenomenal marathon pairing, which is something I all want to see. So everyone go and comment on Callum Hawkins' Instagram saying DM Molly Seidel. On to the running shoe news. Firstly, Seb Coe has voiced his opinion on how Nike shoes are potentially affecting sort of the recognition of all the world records. This is an old story as it came out early January, but we missed it and thought it needed to be included. You can read the full article on The Guardian, but in brief, Seb Coe essentially says that he doesn't think the new shoes and the innovation is bad for the sport and isn't undermining previous world records. And he actually, in fact, thinks the innovation is great for the sport. Mizuno are currently doing sort of an interesting prototype. I've never really used Mizuno, so I'm kind of interested to see how it is, but the shoe definitely looks promising and quite a lot different to things they've put out in the past. So it does look like this could be a super shoe contender. Sandro Moen has posted to his story that he is currently testing some ASICS prototypes. These look different to anything we've seen from ASICS so far, even different to the likes of what Sarah Hall was wearing in her marathon in London, as well as the other prototypes we've seen a few people racing in. So it's interesting to see that ASICS are still yet to release their current prototypes and is already testing for what seems to be a completely different shoe. And something what's got me really excited this week is the new Next Percent 2 colourways. The one in white looks amazing. It sort of looks like an off-white collaboration, so I am definitely going to be buying that. Even though I've said countless times buying white running shoes is definitely not a wise decision. But I can't really help myself here because they do look amazing. And there's also a colourway which links back to the original OG Vaporfly with that blue and red colourway. Does look a bit ugly, I can't lie. I think they could have done a better job of it. And lastly, on the shoe news, we have mentioned these before, but Han shoes have launched their Kickstarter, and I believe they have almost reached their goal. So you can find that in the link in their description, as the shoe innovation looks pretty amazing, and we have spoken to them, and we'll be releasing a podcast shortly around the shoe. And to be honest, if it's as good as they say they are, then it's going to completely change the shoe game to a whole new level. On to some race results now. Depending on when you watch this, there's currently some races going on in the US and in Europe, so sorry if we do miss any of them, but as I'm recording this, I can't keep on looking at live results to include them, so they will be included in next week's episode. Firstly, Matt Bowling runs 45.5 in 400 metres indoors and is currently ranked number 2 in the world. Christian Noble ran a D2 5k indoor record when he clocked 13:37. What makes this even more impressive is the fact that the second place was 14:07, a whole 30 seconds behind. And sticking with the indoor events, Travon Bromel is officially back, and he equals his PR in the 60 metres with a time of 6.48 seconds. It's great to see him back after he's been struggling with countless injuries over the years, and it will be exciting to see if he can medal in Tokyo this year. Now on to some sadder race news. Jim Walmsley fails to break the 100k world record by 6 seconds. Just for some context, if that was a 5k, he would run just under 0.3 seconds slower than the current world record. And for some more added context, that's like someone running 9.58 with an extra thousandths of a second on there when Usain Bolt's world record is 9.58 as well. So that's how close he was. Over in Australia, where outdoor season is in full force, Brett Robinson won the Zatopek 10,000 metres and Rose Davis won the women's 10,000 metres as well. Another world record, I feel like he keeps on breaking them now, but Jared Clifford ran 3:42.97 for a T12 world best, beating his previous world record from a few weeks ago. Jeffrey Kamaraw ran 29:22 to win the Kenyan Police XC Championships for the 9th time, and he's also racing a half marathon in February. And the final race results news comes from the Vegasgold half marathon, where Pat Tiernan won in 1:02.30 in the men's race, and Molly Seidel won in her new Puma shoes in 1:09. On to the transfer news now, and the first thing I want to touch on is the Stride Report transfer portal. If you do not have a Stride Report subscription, it's £3 a month, and you can check it out in their link in bio. We sadly do not have a subscription, but we can confirm that Sam Worley and Clarissa Morales are listed on the transfer portal, meaning that they're probably going to be transferred shortly. And finally, on the transfer news, because it is quite a short one this week, Joshua Thompson has renegotiated his contract with Nike. So this week's general news is a bit shorter than usual, but I just want to include it still because there's some things what have been pretty good. So Mini Track and Field has taken the world by storm this week, and the most recent one, as you can see here, is a mini Mo Farah, but they've done the likes of Dino Asher-Smith, Noah Lyles. Just, yeah, a great page if anyone wants to follow a funny page where you can see your favourite athletes made miniature. And something was a bit strange but also a bit sad, purely because I'm jealous, is the fact that Josh Kerr and David Ribich, obviously co-hosts on the podcast, got verified on Instagram at the same time. And also the Athlete Special got rejected verification, and George Mills in the UK also was verified this week as well. That all happened within a short period of time, so they're going to have to let us in on their secrets there. Now on to this week's Runners Spotlight. It is New Zealander Samuel Tanner. He is 20 years old and boasts personal bests of 1:49 in the 800, 3:36 in the 1500, 3:58 in the mile, which he ran when he was 18, and 7:54 in the 3,000 metres. This year, he's already ran the 1500 in 3:36, as well as the 3,000 in 7:54. So it looks like a promising season for him, and it'll be exciting to see how he can progress this season. And that's it for this week's running news. As always, please comment anything we have missed and leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. And for whatever reason you haven't come from our Instagram, then please check out our Instagram, which will be in the description. That is at Trackstaa'S, where we just post general running content, and that's pretty much it. Pretty boring, I know, but yeah. And also, please comment any suggestions you have for future YouTube videos, as our content is going to sort of hopefully skyrocket in the next few months, and we're wanting to try and put a lot more work in on the YouTube side of things, as well as the podcast and our website, which you can also find just by searching Tracksta on any search engine. And finally, we're going to be doing another giveaway / discount code. So comment the phrase Spencer Brown is a simp in the comments, and you can win a discount code to one of your favourite brands, whether that's Nike, Adidas, New Balance, etc. Thank you for watching and have a nice weekend.